Hi guys, it's Clarice and welcome to another video tutorial with me. In today's video we are going to be doing pansies. These are some of the pansies I tried out and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do these simple bright florals in a loose watercolor style. Here's what we need to begin, or these are the supplies I will be using. Feel free to use what you have on hand. I will be using my Baohong watercolor pad or sketch pad, whatever you want to call it. I will be using the number 4 silver black velvet brush. I have my white nights handy onto the side over here. And I'm definitely going to be using some nice bright colors. I'll do at least 2 or 3 till you guys get the hang of it. And I've got paper towel handy. It's kind of rough looking. I've got water handy on the side and we are good to go. Oh, also a palette. So I've zoomed in for this initial part just so you can see what I am doing better, and you can also have a nice close-up of what I have previously done. So we can do 2 kinds. The one kind, well, they're both going to require the same technique, except with the exception that the second one that we do will have a little bit of shading or detail that you can add to it after the fact if you want to. Okay, so I'm just going to break down the very simple shape that we're going to be doing to create pansies. So it's literally, I'm going to use some leftover color that I've got over here. I'm using this purple color. And you can either choose to go super bright or light for your colors. I'm going to use a purple, the purple that I have. And what I'm doing is holding my brush at an angle. We want to do something that looks almost like a balloon, but in an oval shape. So here we go. Something as simple as that. And then you just kind of perfect the shape a little bit better by adding some ridges to your petal and just pushing the color all the way down to the bottom, just like this. So you can see how it's like white at the top and then it kind of meets down here. Right now at this stage, if you want to add some detail to the center or to the edges, because some of them have a nice gradient color to the edges, you just take advantage of the fact that things are still damp and go in right away to add it just at the edges. And now you've got this nice little floral with an edge. And then some of them have the dark center. This is also when you would go ahead and do the jaggedy lines, adding your dark center. And what I like to do, if you're noticing, is pulling down, doing my strokes downwards towards the center. This way, it's not, if I'm going upward, it doesn't collect at the top and end abruptly. I'm pulling it downward and then it's doing its flare up at the top without me doing much work. And we've got a nice dark petal. And now from this we can build up and do a couple more. Same idea. Really using the full length of your brush or width of your brush to create these nice petals. You can also leave some white space in the center or as you're painting it if you wish to. I haven't. And again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to get some of that violet. I'm going to add it to the edges. Allow it to run through nicely, giving me that nice blend because my paper is nice and damp. And then obviously I'm going to do that in the center as well. Just like we did with the first one. Make sure you don't have excess water accumulating, because what can happen is it can just sort of bunch up and then just sit in a very awkward manner on your petal. So let's just do one more and that should be it for this flower. So you've got the hang of the shape at this point. We want to really give it that nice wide curvy sort of feel, and then meeting down with the brothers and sister petals, or let's just call it sister petals, and then getting some of the violet directly on the tip of my brush. I'm just lightly adding it onto the edges here, allowing it to flare. And then last but not least, going from the top, pulling downwards, I'm doing these little tiny strokes into the center. Feel free to add another little dab session just in the center, and this will really intensify that gradient effect that you give your the centers of your pansies, okay? And I'm leaving that white space because I'd like to go in with some yellow right after. So beautiful little organic edges. Notice the little curvy bits to it. And now we can go in, and I'm just, for the sake of making this pop, I'm gonna go ahead and mix a little bit of, you can either make it a pink, I think that would look really nice, or if you wanna mix some white with your purple, that would also work. Let's do the white with the purple, or the violet rather. And I'm gonna create that third petal hovering around here. And I'm just kind of painting around these two, leaving a little bit of white space. And there we go, we've got our third petal. So this gives it a little bit of contrast, also makes it pop some more, and I'm going to continue pushing the color all the way down to the center here. And the next thing we're going to do is give this a little bit of shadow. So what I'll do here is get some of that violet, mix it in with what I had, like the white. And now I'm just going to go right there. You got to make sure that this part that you've done doesn't touch the other two, because if you go in with color now, you don't want it flaring out into the two petals, okay? So I'm just going to go right here. I'm going to get a little bit in here first, because I feel like this area is a little bit damp. You could just wait for it to dry. I'm being impatient and I'm lightly dabbing to see if I can get less of a blend. And I'm just going in and lightly adding some touches of purple. And you can see the shadow it's giving it right away. So I'm washing up most of the color now. I'm just taking my brush, and it just has water on it, and I'm just going to lightly help the color kind of move along. And that's it. We've got that nice little shadow effect. You can allow this to dry, and you can sort of go ahead and add some purple lines to it, and I think that would also look quite nice. Let's just end this off though with using a little bit of yellow for the center, and we should be good. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow. I'm touching a little bit of the violet center. It is going to blend in with the violet a tad bit, but not too much. And I'm going to leave it at that. There we go. That is our first pansy. All right, the second pansy I'm going to do is going to be yellow, and so I'll be using the cadmium, or just the yellow rather, and I'm just getting some yellow from my color cake. And this one, because I want the yellow to kind of blend in, I don't want it to be as dark as, say, maybe this pink one right here. I'm just going to go ahead and get a little bit of color or water down with my first petal. And so here we go. Make sure you've got enough water. and you're going in and you're adding your first petal. And you can see like it's a very, very muted yellow that I am using. I'm just creating that same shape of petals that we created in the first round. And as soon as I've gotten it nice and damp, I'm going to go ahead and add yellow strokes coming from the center upward. So just like this. So I've got a nice amount of yellow on my brush. And the point of this is so that it can seep into this area that we have just covered up with a light watered down yellow. So the darkest yellow is at the very center. And I'm just dabbing more yellow. Just over here. Okay, now we do the same thing 2 more times. So I'm going to go ahead and create another yellow petal, and this one can be kind of protruding off from the side over here. Giving it a little bit of a curve and pulling it downward here. And pushing all the color to the center. Also leaving a little bit of white space between that yellow petal and this one. And the reason being is I don't want the color seeping into that one. Now once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the yellow strokes. So adding some yellow dabbing in the center. This way it kind of seeps up in the area that's damp, which is pretty much the whole petal because we just dampened it. You can even add a little bit at the edges if you want to, but majority of the color should be at the bottom. And then we'll do one more, repeating this one more time. So I've kind of like drawn that in and then I'm pulling the color down. And then I'm doing the same thing with getting some nice color, yellow, and adding it to the center. All right, so I notice that this one has that little bit of a outward space here. We're going to add 2 more petals there, and they're going to be a nice bright purple. So just switching my brushes again, we'll use the same technique. I'm going to get, this time I'm just going to get a very, very light purple on my number 8. And I'm very careful to make sure that I don't touch these petals that I have over here. And that's mainly because, again, you guessed it, I do not want the purple running into the yellow. So I'm dabbing excess water from my brush onto my paper towel because I don't want water pooling up here either. Now I'm going to take my number 4 and get, let's say, the Quin Lilac, for instance, and I'm going to start painting this from the center here out into the petal that I've just painted. Make sure, again, that you are not touching the petals to the side. I got a little bit of yellow seeping here, but I think I can manage with making sure that the purple doesn't seep into the yellow. So I'm good there. So I'm just kind of lightly making sure it goes all the way to the edge. I'm leaving a little bit of white space at the edge and then ever so lightly adding some purple to the edge there. So make it look like it has a nice white edge. And then I'm going to add more of a purple color to the center. In fact, I could even use some of the violet mixed in with this. And then I'm just going to add that in right here. So we get a nice dark dark purple. See that? How you can just get that beautiful purple happening. And it's such a lovely contrast to your the yellow. So moving all of this down. And then I just want to give this edge of the petal a little bit of a white edge as well. So I'm going to take the number 8 and I'm going to lightly extend where this ends so it looks like a nice white or light purple side, kind of like what we have at the top. And then again, pushing down all the dark color to the center. And that's that. And then we repeat the same thing with another petal, similar fashion, but this one can be a lot smaller and kind of peeking out from here. Again, leaving some white space. And let's just paint this in with that light color. And then we go in with the purple. And I am going in at the center here and kind of lightly pushing the color along, allowing it to do its thing, and then pushing all the color down to the center. So kind of like that. And just want to make sure that the edge is blended. Get some more of the purple or Quin Lilac, whichever one you're using, and I'm just adding a nice darker tone. So we get that nice blend. This is a great flower to be painting if you are just learning about blending and you're just kind of getting used to watercolor in that manner. Make sure you've got this sort of paper, which is like, it's got cotton in it. This is 100% cotton. This helps you better with your blending and stuff, so you can get these results like this. All right, so we've done that. We need to wait for this center to dry out properly because we got to do our final bit to the center and then we're pretty much finished. So it's kind of almost dried up. So I'm going to use my number 4 and I'm going to get some golden, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of that with my lemon because I want more of like a mango-y tone to just kind of add a little bit of a center to this flower. And then once this is dried, we're going to go in and get the nice deep purple, and we're going to add a couple of lines to add a nice center. And I'm going to get some of the dark purple, and I want to get it to, I'm getting the color directly from the color cake, and this is so I can get it nice and dark and nice pointed tip. And making sure that this is nice and dried up, we're going to go ahead and create a couple of lines on each of the petals. Simple enough. So this is also where you need to make sure that your brush control is on point. So we're lightly grazing and doing little strokes like this. Do a couple over here. And then I want to do a couple on this side over here as well. It's just that it's still a little bit damp, so I'm just going to try try and see if I can get away with it. You can already see it kind of seeping in, right? So moral of the story, maybe try and wait for it to dry up properly. And then that should be fine. But I guess it's good that I've made this or painted it before it dried up. So now you can see what can happen if you are not patient versus if you are patient. And either way though, loose style of pansies and you are able to still achieve that. I'm going to use the same purple that I've got on here. I'm just going to add a little bit of detail onto this fourth petal actually, because I think I did mention I would do that as well. So I'm going to add some loosey strokes happening right into and I love how it kind of looks as well, because it gives you that nice texture and really makes this one stand out, but it also kind of brings it home. And I won't do it anymore. I'll leave it at that. But there you go. So these are pansies. And if you wanted to add some green leaves, just get your favorite green. I'm going to use the chromium oxide. The pansy leaves are these cute little round green leaves, obviously green. So I would just do them in a, like kind of doing a little bit of a stroke here, making sure it's nice and damp, and just kind of going in and adding 1, 2, 3 to kind of give you that nice cute little rounded leaf, kind of like that. So again, if you missed it and if I was super quick, for instance, let's do one this way. I'm doing the middle stroke, outer stroke, inner stroke, kind of bringing it together. Simple, to the point. You want to add some darker detail, just get a darker green. I got green, and I'm just adding it down the middle. And there we go. That's it. These are my loose pansies. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And I cannot wait to see your work. So please make sure you do tag me. As you can see, you can do them in several different colors. And I want to see how creative you guys get, if you use any of the yellow with the carmine or the pink, if you use the yellow just by itself with the purple. Yeah, show me your pansies. And if you like this video, guys, please do hit that like button. It really does help my channel grow. And thank you so much for watching. And make sure you subscribe. Thanks, guys.